The following program contains violence, disturbing imagery, nudity, and, oh my God, why are you even watching this? Just run away.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of 3 Geeks Flix. Of course, joining me as always is the Muse, Justin Kyle. Say hello, everyone, Justin.
Hello, everyone.
Ah, yes, and I am the Tech, Mitchell Wright. A little something different here for you all, taking a break from some trailer reviews and movie reviews to kind of talk about a few films that we feel are clutch. Now, I'm sure you saw the clutch intro at the beginning, and kind of to describe what clutch is, a clutch movie is, it's not necessarily a 10 or a 9 or just your favorite movie in the whole wide world, but it's a movie that, say there's nothing on, or you come across it on TV and it's on, you're going to sit down and watch it. You're going to watch the whole thing through. It takes that boredom, that tiresome searching out of your hands, and gives you, for that hour and a half to 2 hours, something to enjoy, whether it be on your DVR, on TV, a DVD, a bootleg, or whatever medium you may have it on. So to get us started off, of course, I am going to defer to the Muse, as I always do, and say, Justin, give it to me. What you got?
Okay, that was a great description as far as what we're talking about, as far as what a clutch is. So generally speaking, clutches fall in about the 8 to 8.5 range. It's a movie, like you said earlier, if you're flipping through the channels and one of these movies comes on, you're like, ooh, I'll watch this. It's like a little snack you found in the dark, right? It's not a full course meal, but if you don't want to spoil your dinner, which would be like a 10, so like The Dark Knight, which you're going to have later that night, you're going to eat a little snack to get you through, right? A great snack. You're so glad. It was perfect for that time. It was perfect. So generally, they're about an 8 to an 8.5. Now, one of mine is a really, really good snack. It's probably the best snack you've had all year, so it'd be about a 9. But to start off, just to give an example, my first clutch would be the 2010 release of the movie called Legion. I saw the trailer for this, and this is Tech. This is one of yours and my favorite genres as far as this type. Yeah, it's like a niche genre. I love this kind of fantasy. In particular, I forget the director's full name. It's like Scott something, but he was a writer-director. He actually, I think, started a graphic novel after this. Same guy that directed Priest. Also could be a clutch if you want.
Yeah.
And what a jewel of a film this was. What's genius about it is all of it, the majority takes place in a diner out in the middle of nowhere, but the actions of that diner are directly affecting the fate of the whole world. I love it when good story can do that. It's got an amazing lead, Paul, what's his name? What's the actor's name?
Oh, you're killing
Bettany.
me. Paul Bettany. He's the Vision.
One of my favorite actors. Great film. I give it a solid 8.
Solid 8. I agree, and it's actually part of an inspiration for the book How a Star Falls that I'm writing right now, and I will share with everyone whenever it does come complete. So absolutely, that niche is fantastic, and actually going on that niche and kind of following it is another inspiration for the book that I'm writing, is the 1995 release of The Prophecy.
Great choice.
That movie in the 90s, when it came out, there wasn't really anything like it. And in all honesty, it's not a 10 because effects weren't groundbreaking or anything like that. The music, though, the music was awesome, and the sound and everything. But Christopher Walken as your bad guy Gabriel, and the whole idea in the story of angels in heaven fighting to get this dark soul that will help them win the war, because angels didn't have all the knowledge of treachery and warfare and everything. That's a pretty cool idea, and I mean it had a decent cast, and you got to think it's kind of a startup for some of the people that were coming out, like Viggo Mortensen. He played Lucifer, and a lot of people hadn't really seen him or heard of him before then. So, yeah, absolutely. And then Walken, Walken was priceless. He was Gabriel in that movie, and it kind of helped set the whole tone. And both Legion and Prophecy, it takes something, I guess a genre that really hadn't been hit on before, and gave it a horror-esque twist, but with a sci-fi kind of fantasy feel. So, well played, well done. It's definitely one that if I see that's on, or if I've got nothing going on, I'll throw it on the DVR, and I'll be good to go for about an hour and a half.
You'll be good to go.
That's
Man.
Right. And it's definitely a solid 8.
And how great was Viggo Mortensen as the devil? That's probably the best, one of, if not the best portrayers of Lucifer I've ever seen.
Absolutely, and I love that little song he sang. Like all true loves, it withered on the vine, or however it went. That was like his little touches he put on it.
Right,
spot on.
Right. So my second film is the 2005 release, V for Vendetta. This also came straight out of the comics. Is this DC? Is this DC Vertigo? Does that come out of DC Vertigo, do you think?
Sin City, I'm believing it might have. I will double check.
Well, it came out in 2005. Came out in 2005. Now, the Wachowskis were executive producers.
As a Dark Horse.
Dark Horse, okay.
Dark Horse.
So, Wachowskis were executive producers. I believe they wrote the screenplay. And it's kind of rumored that they were actually, for lack of a better word, the director behind it. Now, their AD, their assistant director, or their second director of the Matrix trilogy, was the actual director for all intents and purposes. But they had a lot to do with it. Solid movie all the way around. Visuals, it has some iconic imagery, especially at the beginning when they're playing that. That classical music, and then the clock tower explodes or whatever it was. When it has all of the mask and they're about to storm Parliament. There's a lot of iconic moments in this. And this came out, I think I was a junior in high school. This movie, I saw this in theaters. Whether I was sober or not does not matter. But this movie blew me away as far as overall enjoyment.
Absolutely. You were right initially. It is a Vertigo, DC comic Vertigo. Okay. I'm sorry.
It has that tone to it. That's why I was thinking that.
I was reading down wrong. Little tech error there. Sorry.
You should be shit.
So yeah, V for Vendetta. The way it ends is flawless. The fight scenes. It has so much iconicness all the way through. That's going to be one of those movies where in 40 years from now, you and me, Mitchell, we're going to be talking 40 years from now, talking about how old we were when this movie came out and what it did for us.
Oh, exactly. And solid performances from Hugo Weaving and Natalie Portman, for sure.
Right.
Absolutely. My next one is, keeping kind of in the time frame, is Chronicles of Riddick. Now, I know I've talked about the Riddick films and whatnot, but I've got this one on the DVR, and I've got it on the DVD, and whenever I got it on my hands and I was in college and whatnot, and even still to this day, there's nothing else on. I'll pop on a little Chronicles, and I may watch that 1 or 2 times. It definitely didn't groundbreak in some amazing fashion or something like that, but it was a great follow-up to Pitch Black, and by far, if you ask me, and I know some people will disagree, I find it far more superior than Pitch Black, especially with Diesel's acting, more lines on him, the story as well. The movie was much more polished. You know, it had a bigger budget. So given all that and wrapped it into one, and you know, like I said, this isn't going to blow you away with any kind of dialogue or twists or anything, but it's an enjoyable action film. You're going to sit back, you're going to lose yourself in it, and man, I tell you what, I can't tell you how many times I've watched it.
Right.
I mean, it's countless times, and quite frankly, I know there's a lot of people out there who either love or hate Vin Diesel, and if you hate him, you know, you can go sit on a stick
and twist.
That's right.
This was the Chronicles was Vin Diesel at his prime. It took the story of originally Pitch Black and elevated it, even how it ends, where it shows he actually became the king. You know, you keep what you kill, according to the Necromongers. Great movie.
Yep.
All the way around, great movie.
Yep. So definitely pushing solid 8, possibly more if you kind of think about it. I'd almost give it an 8.5, but it is definitely a clutch film for me.
Right. So my third one is the 2007 release, I Am Legend with Will Smith. Now, we've talked about this a little bit before in previous videos. This was Will Smith when he was Will Smith. He was the guy in Hollywood from about 2004 to about 2008, give or take. I mean, every year he had almost what many consider the movie of the year. Right. I Am Legend, within that time period, is probably my favorite film that he did. Heavily emotional. Oh, yeah. Great acting. It's probably the best acting I've seen Will Smith ever, apart from, you know, maybe 7 pounds in The Pursuit of Happiness. But as far as action goes, you know, how emotional was it when he had to kill his dog? You know, the last thing. I mean, man, tears were. I still cry, man, if I watch that. You know, the music. James Newton Howard filmed this. He did the score for it. Right. Iconic music. The theme. I mean, I can hear that in my head at a moment's notice, and it's so sad and so emotional. The action was on par. The character arc that it showed from Will Smith, again, just like the Castaways, just like the Martian and Gravities, it takes a truly gifted actor to be the anchor of a movie by himself. And I like this because they did it on a scale that really hasn't been done. I mean, it's one thing to do it in space. It's another thing to do it downtown New York, in Manhattan area. You know what I mean? So the only criticism that I don't like about it is, number one, the I forget what they're called, like the Night Stalkers or something, the actual bad guys. Right. They looked a little too CG. Even at the time, they looked really CG. I wish they would have gone with practical with that. And the second thing that this would be probably a 9, possibly 9.5, is if they would have went with the alternate ending instead of the actual ending. I actually like the alternate ending better.
As do I. But I have to, pardon me. I have to say, one of the things that helped sell that movie and sell you watching it was the grand scale and the fact that you really felt like you were in a derelict or abandoned, a dystopian New York City. So, well played. Well done, sir.
Right.
Speaking of possibility of dystopian futures, or I guess like I said, the possibility of it, and going back to the kind of the niche genre of the Prophecy and Legion is Constantine. It was 2005, and I mean, the Muse and I both are huge fans of Keanu Reeves. You know, I've been watching him since the days of Bill and Ted, folks. I grew up with him as a staple on the big screen. This film, like I said, I don't know what it is. There's just something that calls to me about the whole idea of angels and demons and the genre and the appeal to it and whatnot. But I love the idea of them taking this man, or the story, this human that you know, has seen something and it has opened another world to him, and he's trying to you know, to work toward saving his soul that's already damned and going about it the wrong way. But at the same time, you've got to really think of it. He's actually an anti-hero almost, in a way.
Oh, he is.
He's not. He's not your common denominator. And this is a DC Vertigo as well, and he's also part of the DC Dark group. So,
Right.
and it kind of bums me out that the series that came out didn't do well, and it only lasted a season. But the movie itself, I know they changed, the fact that they're not in London like they were in the graphic novel. They're in L.A. And
Right.
it was called Hellblazer as the graphic novel. And also I know some people were like, well, Constantine was a blonde, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, that's all fine and great and grand. But I think Keanu Reeves nailed the personality for me that you would want somebody in that profession and in that realm to have. And Rachel Weisz was great as well. That played Gabriel. You mentioned the other night her name
Tilda
escapes.
Swinton.
Yeah,
Tilda.
she was fantastic
Wasn't
as
she?
Gabriel. And I even have to give some applause to Gavin Rosdale.
Oh yeah,
A- a-
absolutely.
As Balthazar. I mean, I was like, wow, I didn't know he could act that well, and so
Right.
that was all well done. And for the life of me, I cannot remember the name of the actor that played Lucifer.
Now, see, I'm glad you said that because
I need you to help me.
when I said earlier that Viggo
Mhm.
Mortensen played the best version of Lucifer,
Hmm.
I said one of, and then I started smiling like, 'cause I knew this was on your list.
Yeah.
This guy, now he's one of those actors where you know him, everyone knows him,
Oh,
but we
yeah.
don't know his name.
Mhm.
This guy killed it as Lucifer.
Yeah.
This was probably the best version of Lucifer. He was creepy, he was hilarious, he was powerful and scary, and funny.
Hmm.
I mean, this guy killed it. Absolutely. And the thing about that was,
Hmm.
they could have gotten like a A-list star. The guy's not an A-list, right? We don't even know his
Alright.
name. We know of him, but man, he stole the show when he came on.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And to do him some justice, I am trying to find him right now, and of course, the internet is trying to be a tad it's trying to,
Obnoxious.
a pain in the ass. I mean, I'm just
So, like,
going to say it.
The other thing with the Constantine movie and what elevates it beyond just like an 8 to probably about an 8.5 or 9 is
Right.
how original and thought out things were. So, like, how he exercised the girl at the beginning with the mirror.
Mhm.
How, when Lucifer was introduced, it showed him floating down with the tar dripping off of his feet.
Absolutely.
How the gun was actually a gold cross. Everything was so thought out. I don't know a lot about the comics or if they took it from the comics, but when I saw all of that, and as far as the time travel goes, you know what I mean? Using the chair, how awesome was that? That's the thing.
Oh yeah.
So
It is Peter Stormare, Stormare. Peter Stormare was Satan, and then of course a lot of people forget Shia LaBeouf played Chaz Kramer.
he did a solid job. Everyone did a solid
Yeah.
job.
Yep. Oh, Shia LaBeouf before he jumped off the crazy cliff.
Great Scott!
He's pretty gifted, though. I will give him that. He's a lot better actor than I'd like to admit.
Oh, I'll give you that. I'll give you that all day. All right.
Okay, so my third one is the 1993 release of the movie called. It's a movie called Tombstone. Now, this is a movie.
Ah,
This is a movie that
Yes.
I think I was 5 at the time, but after I saw this, I immediately felt like a man. For all intents and purposes, I wanted to be Doc Holliday. I thought he was awesome. And it's funny because I think about 3 months ago, I watched, it was literally like an hour documentary on YouTube about the making of Tombstone.
Mhm.
Now, there was another movie that came out called Wyatt Earp that same year with Kevin Costner, right?
Yeah.
Now, that one's a lot more gritty and not as over the top and theatrical as Tombstone. But, dude, Tombstone was legit. They were on the money as far
Absolutely.
as accuracy go.
Absolutely.
And then, especially after you watch the documentary of the making of it, Wyatt Earp was a beast in real life when he had to. The way they showed the OK Corral and how realistic it was in Doc Holliday, and it takes you more into their relationship. They really respected each other, but they there was always that tension, like, I may have to take you in one of these days. Do you realize that? And Doc's like, you do you, boo-boo. I don't care.
You do.
Literally.
Oh, yeah.
The action at the time was I don't know about groundbreaking, but it was off the chain. That's the best way I could describe it.
Absolutely.
It was the original inspiration for the personality of DMX as a gangster. It was amazing. This is one of the ultimate warm blankets for me. And why it's one of the ultimate warm blankets is it's not for kids. This is not a kids movie. No. I happened to be a kid when I watched it. And again, not at all. I immediately walked out of the theater with the full beard after I saw this.
I tell you, man, one of the things, this cast was awesome.
Yeah.
Was awesome. Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer, Sam Elliott, Bill Paxton, Powers Booth, Thomas Hayden Church. I mean, I could go on and down the line. And I mean, it was just like, it's star-studded. You know, it is the ultimate Wyatt Earp story for me. Costner did fine in Wyatt Earp, but I'm sorry, Tombstone is far superior.
Dude, if they, and it was funny because like, when you watch the special features and the making of it, all of those actors took this so seriously, almost too seriously, and how thought out it was. And you gotta love that, and you gotta respect it. As far as the other movie that came out, every once in a while, Hollywood will have that to where they'll have this two movies that come out in the same year with almost identical premises. Armageddon, Deep Impact, that type thing.
Yeah.
In this case, in '93, Tombstone kicked Wyatt Earp's ass. Like, there was no debate which one was better. It's like, I'm sorry, dude. You're adorable, but you just got your ass kicked. That's exactly what happened.
Hands down, man. Hands down. A complete agreement. Complete agreement. All right. Moving on. My next one is the 2004 release of none other Blade Trinity. Now, I know a lot of people... there's some out there that just are not Blade people whatsoever by any means. Sorry, we got a battle royale with the dogs going on. But this movie, it had the action. It had, like I said, it had Wesley Snipes coming back as one of the most iconic non-white superheroes, or almost anti-heroes.
Right.
And plus, it had Ryan Reynolds in his prime. Now, he's back. Ryan Reynolds, of course, is back, like we said in all the Deadpool stuff. But this was Ryan Reynolds in his prime as Hannibal King.
And for all intents and purposes, this was the first preview of Deadpool.
Yeah, absolutely it was. Absolutely it was. It was fantastic. But as far as it goes, story-wise and production, I like Blade 2 and everything, but quite frankly, this knocks them out of the park, because Blade 1, I liked it. It's a great movie, but the effects were kind of goofy. Blade 2 had a cool story, working with the vampires and everything, and the mutated gene. This one, the one thing that pulls this one down on this one a little bit is the ultimate bad guy, and how they portrayed Dracula, whatever you want to call him. I think they could have gone another route with that. It was kind of a weak link as far as story-wise on that part goes.
Right.
But otherwise, the action, the comedy, the banter and rapport back and forth between Ryan Reynolds and Wesley Snipes completely will sell you on that by any means.
Right. And like the Blade trilogy, it doesn't get the appreciation it deserves. So like the first one came out, you're right when you say some of the effects were over the top, like the exploding at the end, the really fat guy. But let's not forget, that was really the start of the superhero. That was before X-Men. It was before the first.
It was, yeah.
And it also, I hate it. This is one of my biggest pet peeves when people say that the Wachowskis invented bullet time. If you go back and watch the first Blade movie, they slow down time and show a bullet graze by. That was the start of bullet time.
Yes, it was.
The second one, Guillermo del Toro knocked it out of the park. Now, Trinity, it was David Goyer's directing debut, I think. I think it was the first movie that David Goyer actually directed. with that in mind, I'm right there with you. I think the idea of having Dracula as the final one was awesome in theory.
Right.
The only thing I don't like is it felt like the climax of Blade Trinity wasn't as compared to the second one and first one to me.
Right.
But yeah, I'm right there with you.
Right. Absolutely. So yeah, and I give the movie like it's a 7.5 for sure.
That's a good score.
7.5 for sure.
Yeah, 7.5. So like, overall, the Blade trilogy gets highly underrated. As far as comic book heroes and what it started too. It was also one of the very first hard R movies too.
Yes, it was. It was one of the first hard R movies. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So.
All
right. Moving along, sir. Your last one.
So it looks like my last one is the 2002 release of Minority Reports.
Ah.
Now, at the beginning of this, I said there are some good snacks that you could consider a 9. This is it. I give Minority Report a 9, and
right.
It could even be, depending on who I'm talking to, it could be more than a 9. Now, Steven Spielberg, Tom Cruise at the height of Tom Cruise. This was Tom Cruise in his peak when he was the man in Hollywood.
Yeah.
This was Steven Spielberg in his peak when he was the director in Hollywood. This is their first teaming. I think it was before War of the Worlds.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was.
The story, the cinematography, the score, the acting, everything is top notch. The story is phenomenal. The acting's good.
Right.
Spielberg, how thought out they put in the future.
Right.
I mean, if we were doing a review, I'd probably give this movie. It's just a personal thing. I understand it's not groundbreaking. But personally, I would probably give this a 9.5.
Nice.
As far as special effects, as far as the overall sci-fi genre, a 9.5.
Gotcha. Absolutely. I completely agree. This did a lot of things that, as far as visually, and with effects and with the computers and everything, you got to think. This is stuff they're doing now with all the touch screen and everything, the motion gestures and everything. This movie actually inspired some of the technologies that are coming out now, and that alone,
that
is
merits
impressive.
10, if you think about it.
It really could, and that's kind of one of the things I want to bring up to you. Quite honestly, it brings it up a few notches.
Right, and so like it's cool if you watch the special features in the making before they really got started in actually principal photography. Spielberg set down like the top, 10 scientists, renowned scientists in the world, including like some professors at MIT, and they thought of what would future technology really be like in 40 years from now. So they designed the car, the Lexus. Remember how cool that Lexus was in there?
Oh yeah, that car was sweet.
Those little gloves that Tom Cruise wore with those 3 glowing fingertips, they designed. I mean, it took them like a month to figure out the movement.
It did.
And all of the, just so thought out. You don't expect any less from Spielberg, not at its prime anyways.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. I mean, it was a fantastic movie, well played, well done, a lot of new technologies and graphics in it. You could easily say that this was a 10. Easily.
Right.
Absolutely. My last movie, of course, is the 2014 release of John Wick. Giving a little more love to Keanu Reeves, and quite actually right now it is on my TV. I've got it playing over the DVR just to, I can sit there and have this on and not even have the audio on and look up and enjoy it and know exactly where it's at and what's going on. I've seen it so many times. But you want to talk about action done right? You want to talk about a role made for somebody like Deadpool was made from Ryan Reynolds? Keanu Reeves is John Wick. And if you don't watch this movie and not feel for that man after losing, in spoiler alert, his wife, his dog.
The dog, too. That's the second
and all
movie
that
on
stuff.
this list where you're like, don't lose the dog, man.
Exactly. And it's just like, wow. Wow. And the action scenes are amazing. And I don't think I've seen so many headshots, from a gun in any movie. But the thing is is it doesn't look over the top or cheesy. It feels right. It feels real. The gunplay, the fight scenes.
Right.
You know, he gets beat up in this, and he stays beat up through the movie and everything. And it's just you instantly just get sucked in. And if you do not enjoy or fall in love with just the story, the movie, the action, and the man that is John Wick in a platonic sense, then I don't know what's wrong with you.
The man they call John Wick.
That's right.
No, I mean, we make a joke about it, but how awesome and how cool was his name in that movie? I mean, who did he hit? He hit John Wick. Oh, crap. Things just got serious. You know, whose dog did they kill? They killed John Wick's dog, sir. That's the thing. So, like, they actually invented a new kind of martial arts. They call it gung fu for this movie. I mean, you're right. The fighting, the long takes, the action. This is what happens when you get two directors that are professional stuntmen doing the direction. I mean, the first trailer for this movie, it was only one trailer as far as I know. It came out a month before the movie released. You see the trailer once, you're like, what is this?
I know, right?
It's coming out, right?
It's like, whoa.
The fans loved it so much that now they're starting the second one. How awesome is that?
I love it.
Like, one of the best things that they did smartly and intelligently is they built the underworld. So, like, the hotel, you know, that's another cool thing. That
Hotel Continental.
The Continental, man, that has a story in and of itself.
Oh,
the underground, the gold coins, like all of that stuff, the respects, you know, the old phone books, the cleaning services.
I love the cleaning service.
The cars. It's just like, I mean, they just put so much thought into it, and how they presented it was even better. And
I love how the Russian, called it Boboyega, Boogeyman.
That's correct, man.
So, yeah.
That's one of those movies that when you saw the trailer, there's no doubt I'm going to like that movie.
In all honesty, if you think about it, just like Minority Report, I feel that this movie's a 10. For the things it did, for the like you said, a new type of gun kung fu. I mean, they brought it that. Keanu Reeves, a lot of people were like, yeah, Keanu's okay. I mean, he showed everybody in this film that he's back. All of the music fit every scene so well. The acting was awesome. The story was awesome.
Right.
The gunfights were awesome. And the thing I love about this show is and I don't remember there was no slow-mo. There was no slow-mo.
Right.
This gave you just the good old action film back.
No slow-mo, no shaky cam, no rapid cuts.
No big CGI. It was practical.
Right.
So, in all honesty, it wasn't groundbreaking, but it was. It reformed and solidified the ground of practical effects and not over CGIing the crap out of something.
Right. And it was emotional. It was heavily emotional. I
Absolutely.
mean, when his wife dies, that was extremely emotional. When his dog dies,
absolutely.
When his dog dies, you wanted him to kill people.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah. You were ready for a rampage. You knew it was happening. Especially when they said they stole his car. Yeah, okay. They killed his dog. It's like, oh crap.
Oh, you don't do that, man. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
That's the thing. So, like, this is the example of why I was so conflicted when we were talking about the what was that Vin Diesel movie that came out, The Last Witch Hunter, and I was conflicted because you're not sure, right? If we would have saw John Wick, when I saw the trailer for John Wick in theaters, I turned to my mates over here and I was like, "That's gonna be awesome." You know what I mean? It's any confliction when you see the trailer. It is what you saw is what you got as well.
Absolutely. And I mean, this, unlike The Last Witch Hunter, was just awesome from the beginning all the way to the end. It never slowed down. It never stopped. It never felt like there was a lull and everything. And like I said, I like Vin Diesel, but The Last Witch Hunter, it was about a 6 in my book. But John Wick is a 10 in mine. It is that big snack that you can't help but eat.
Yeah. It's hard to argue against that, you know? There are some things that, in today's world, you could consider it being groundbreaking. I don't know if groundbreaking is the right term, but it shook the ground and it got to the core of what an old school throwback 80s action movie was. I mean, that's what it tasted like. It tasted like a, like a Commando or like a Cobra or just like a throwback, bad to the bone action movie from the 80s that we've lost that touch.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have our clutch list of movies that, nothing else is on. We want to sit back and have something to keep us occupied. And here's these gems, these diamonds in the rough that we can sit back, relax, and let soak over us. But other than that, Muse, do you have anything else, or did we pretty much nail it down, bud?
We nailed down, and I feel like I feel really good that I got to say this into a camera about these movies because it's been a long time coming. This is just the beginning. There are a lot more that we have to talk about. It's only just started, but we're in a good start. Absolutely.
There are many more clutch movies, trust me. I agree completely. These are just some of the biggest highlights. But again, want to thank you all for tuning in. Check us out on Facebook, 3 Geeks Flix, Flix. Give us a like. Also, check us out on YouTube. Where are you watching this? Make yourself an account. Sign in. Hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you around every time we throw something new on. There was a blog spot, and I know I just mentioned it and opened that door, but it is at this time comatose and shall remain that way until further notice. I didn't say dead, I said comatose. It's a more accurate descriptive word I was looking for.
Yes. Yeah. It's like a Beatrix Kiddo state in Kill Bill. She'll rise again.
She'll rise again. It just might. All right. Well, folks, other than that, again, that is the Muse, Justin Kyle. I am the Tech, Mitchell Wright. We appreciate greatly you tuning in. But until next time, stay tuned to the glow of those monitors, because we're going to catch you next time. Good night. No. Well, I got to go to the bathroom, so I'll be back here in a few minutes.
Well, take me with you. I want to go with you, Mitchell.
I can't take the computer with me.
I'm just kidding. All right. Regroup. Ready, go.
Go. Did you have a successful poopy?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Haters gonna hate.
Can I do a video telling people if they unsubscribe, I will track them down and kill them? Like, would that be inappropriate?
Might be a tad inappropriate.
I don't care. I could care less. If you hit that unsubscribe button, I won't kill you. I'll kill your dog. Let's just make it simple.
Oh, wow. This escalated quickly.
Now look, this is a threat. I am threatening you. Take it to the bank. This wouldn't hold up the court of law.